Today you're going to be practicing the comprehension strategy of making connections, okay? And finding ways where you can personally relate to a text, okay? So you may be asking, well, what do you mean by making connections, right? Connections are just what they sound like. They are links that we as readers can make between what we're reading and the things that we already know or things that we've already experienced, right? Okay, so how do I do that? What is the process, right? So good readers use their own background knowledge and, as I said before, their prior experiences, what they know, to make these connections to what they're reading, okay? Your life experiences, other forms of literature, magazines, just what you know, what's been going on in the world, films that you've seen, movies, the radio, music that you listen to. As you are reading, you can make a connection to, oh, this sounds like something that I've heard in a song, or I've heard my favorite songwriter use this word before, or talk about this subject in a song that they've written. So you're making a connection. When something pops up in your mind as you're reading, you've instantly made a connection, okay? So you may be saying, okay, well, again, why should I make connections to what I read? Well, making connections while you read, guys, is how we as readers make sense of new information that we read, okay? And we make connections to better understand what we read, all right? And it gives us ideas about how to respond to what we're reading. So let's look at the type of connections that we can make. There are 3 different types, okay? Okay, when we look here, we see text to self, text to text, text to world, and text to media. So there are 4 different types, but a lot of children use 3 of them, right? But I want you guys, as moving into grade 7, I want you guys to practice using all 4. Most kids use text to self, right? Or text to text, or text to media, because you guys are really in this social media type of world, right? But I want us to practice using all 4 of these. So let's take a little look at what each one of them are. Text to self. That means you as the reader are reminded of a similar person, setting, or event in your own life as you're reading the book. It reminds you of something that you personally, right, have gone through or experienced. Text to text is when you're reminded of another book, or you start thinking, oh, this character is like another character in this book that I read in 4th grade, or this book that I read in 5th grade. Okay? Text to media. This is where you are the reader and you are reminded of something that you've seen on TV, in a movie, something you've read on the computer, heard in a song, right? Those are all different forms of media. And it may be even something, I know the big thing is TikTok, something that you have seen on TikTok, or I think you guys told me about Snapchat, right? Okay, and the last one is text to world. And this is where you are reminded of events that have taken place in the real world when you're reading something, either in your textbook or you're reading an article or something like that. And this is where our What's the Scoop activity that we have planned each week, where you guys research current events in the world. This is where this comes in, right? And it helps you. And so if you're reading a particular text, and you've been completing your What's the Scoop activities every week, you could possibly make a connection and say, hey, wait a minute. I did a What's the Scoop event on something like this, a couple of weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. So you're able to make a connection or link up information that you've learned in that activity to something that you're actually reading in class. Okay. And so when you are making connections, you want to remember, share deep connections by exploring and explaining the connection. So what do you mean by that? When we're making connections as readers, we want to make sure that we avoid surface layer connections. Oh, when I read this, oh, I see this character likes dogs. I like dogs too, right? So that's kind of surface layer. We want to kick it up a notch and really, really think about a deeper connection, okay? And so with this particular example, instead of saying we both like dogs, they used the text here and said, I connected with Marty. This is a character, right? That's in the book Shiloh. When he said that something hurt him inside, when he realized that Shiloh had been abused. When I see photos of abused or injured dogs, I feel deep pain in my heart too, and I want to cry. So you can tell the difference in the connection. Here, it's just surface layer. We're in the same cup. We both like dogs. But here, you're down in the nitty-gritty. You're right with that character, right, in that particular text. And you're giving an example of how you are connected, okay? Here's another example. This is surface layer. This is just, I can connect with Marty and Shiloh because we both have sisters. Okay, you may think that as you're reading, oh, this character has a sister, I have a sister. Right? Or, oh, okay, I remember something like that happened to me. Same thing happened. But you want to go deeper. You want to explain your connection. So an example of that is when Marty lied to his sister and told her that he was looking for a snake, it reminded me of how sometimes I lie to my sister about having to do homework so she will leave me alone. So here you're just explaining the connection. Instead of just merely making the connection, we want to make sure we explain it. And so today we are going to be reading an informational text entitled Embarrassed, Blame Your Brain. And I know that immediately in my mind, when I even think of just the title, right, as part of #legit, that's one of those features. That's the first thing we look at, that title. When I think about embarrassed, blame your brain, my mind immediately goes to, oh my gosh, I have been embarrassed so many times, right? But that would be a surface connection because it's just So if I want to make a deeper connection with what I'm going to be reading today or what we're going to be reading today, I want to be thinking about, oh man, explaining a time or two when I've been embarrassed. So what I want you guys to do right now, I want you to go ahead and log into Rapid ID, and you guys are going to go to My Friend Ed as we've done before. And I want you to go to your assignments tab and you're going to click on Embarrassed, Blame Your Brain, Read. Okay? And so as we are reading today, I want us to have a purpose in mind. I want you to be thinking about making one of these connections to what we are reading today. Okay? All right. I'll see you on the other side.